Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. It's the day after Thanksgiving, November 24th, I think, today. And I'm glad you're here to join me live. I'm Christine from speechmodification.com, and I'm here to talk about some difficult words, words that are challenging and difficult to pronounce. And we'll be talking about those words today, giving you some quick tips and resources for improving your American pronunciation. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. Speechmodification.com. So I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving holiday, and maybe some of you don't have to work today if you're here in the States. If you're elsewhere around the world, we just had a traditional holiday, Thanksgiving, where basically we take the day off and cook a lot of food and get together with family and friends and eat. And it's an enjoyable holiday for many people. So I hope you had a good one. I want to let you know that if you'd like to be notified every time we have a live class, we do this on Fridays, and coming up there will be some more in-depth classes covering a few different topics. On December the 9th, I'm going to be talking about American vowels and giving you some help with understanding the American vowel system. And that's a class that you can register for on my website if you'd like to be notified. And of course, if you subscribe to the channel and click on notifications, you'll get an email letting you know every time that we're live. So I suggest doing that. It's a great way to stay involved. And you can always watch rebroadcasts of the live classes on my channel page. So after this class is finished, I'll put a link to that playlist in the corner. You can click on that and check it out. As I said, we'll have some in-depth classes coming up. They're going to be a lot of question and answers, so feel free to comment and ask questions. Know that if I get more than a few questions at a time, your questions only appear briefly on the screen for me, so I may miss your question. Please go ahead and leave it in the comments after the class or send me an email, because I do love to get your questions. It really helps me make good decisions about what videos will be helpful for you and what topics to cover in future classes. You can always leave comments on any of my videos on my website, and I will see them and respond to them. So today, the playlist I'd like to highlight is my difficult words playlist. And this comes from comments and work with you, my clients and students, who tell me what words are most difficult to say in the American accent. And I'll talk a little bit about why certain words are difficult, and depending on your accent, different words will be difficult for different people. But in the playlist, you'll see some of the top words that are the most challenging for people who speak English as a second language. And as always, I break down in detail the pronunciation and things to watch out for and help you say those difficult words, both by themselves and in your fluent connected speech. I'll also be taking your questions today and giving you some quick tips. So let's talk about difficult words. What words are difficult for you will depend on your accent patterns, which depend on your native language. So for example, if you speak an Indian language or Indian English, you may have difficulty with words that have the W and V sounds together. Those are particularly difficult because in Indian English, W and V can be a little bit indistinct from one another. So you may have difficulty with all of the words that have V, all of the words that have W, but you're certain to have difficulty with words that have W and V. For example, words like whenever or however, when you have to move from one to the other. I have videos for both of those and other words with W and V for Indian English speakers. If you're a Spanish speaker, you may have difficulty with words like man and men, because the vowel sounds in those words are vowels that you exchange for each other that you have difficulty hearing and pronouncing. And similarly for many languages, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Indian English, Spanish, you'll have difficulty with words like leave and live. And we've talked about some of those vowels in past broadcasts, and of course in my vowel playlist you can see and get help for those. But if you have difficulty, hi Mohammed, good to see you. If you have difficulty with any patterns, you'll have difficulty with words that are similar. Another word that's difficult for many people is the word really. That has the R and the L, and for many people both of those sounds can be difficult, particularly the R sound. And when you put difficult sounds together in the same word, it creates a more challenging pronunciation. So for most accents, words that have multiple accent patterns in them are going to be the most challenging. For example, if words have TH and R, or R and L, or X and TH. Thanks, Mr. Challenge. He's saying this is an awesome topic. Yes, I also would like you to go ahead and tell me words that are difficult for you, and we'll talk about why those are difficult. But these, in my experience, is what makes these particular words difficult. So I do have videos just for words with R and L, words with X and TH. You can find some of those. Pascal has a question about schwa. He says, is it just one sound or does it always sound the same, stressed and unstressed? That's a great question. Vowel schwa really technically has two different sounds, but in terms of what we can really hear and perceive, it's one sound. It's a central vowel. So you'll see in the dictionary sometimes it looks like an upside down E. That's when it's unstressed. So in words like organization, organization, those are all the unstressed schwa. And those are usually short in duration. It's the sound. And then in words like much or such or some, that's the stress schwa, and that's the one that looks like an upside down V in the symbols in the dictionary. And again, both sounds are but usually when a vowel is stressed, we hold it longer in duration, and when it's unstressed, it's shorter in duration. I believe technically in terms of frequencies, there's a tiny difference between those two vowels. But in my mind, they're basically one sound, and the difference is in how long we hold it. So if you master the sound, the relaxed tongue central, and you put it in both places, you should be fine. Great question. Thank you. Okay, so there are, as I was saying, anytime there are more than one of your accent patterns in a word, it's going to be more difficult to pronounce. And there are a lot of words that are difficult even for native speakers of English to pronounce. So, for example, the word fifth has an F and a TH cluster at the end. Fifth. Most Americans will simply say this word fifth. They'll leave that F out. So they just say it like F-I-T-H, fifth, instead of fifth. And that's simply because it's difficult to move right from the F to the TH sound, fifth. I recommend for most of my clients that they pronounce it without the medial F, just as fifth instead of fifth, because it doesn't sound really any different. You won't sound different than a native speaker. It's good to be aware of what sounds are there, but you can use some of the same cheats that Americans use for these difficult sounds. Other difficult sounds for American speakers when there are a lot of R's together. So, for example, the word aurora, rural, juror, any of these sounds where we're moving from a medial R to a final R, there's multiple R's, they're challenging to pronounce, and you'll hear Americans have to slow down a little bit, and we certainly have many words that Americans will mispronounce. Now, I will tell you in my videos, very rarely, says Pascal, yes, very and rarely. Okay, Mr. Challenge says he wants to hear the word suggestion. I'll sound that out for you. So 3 syllables, suggestion, suggestion. Yeah, that's a little bit hard because I'm going from the G, sug, to the J, suggestion. I'd say that's probably what's causing some difficulty there with that word. I'll make a note of that and make a video breaking down the details of suggestion for you. Good suggestion. Very rarely, Pascal was saying, is very difficult. Sure, we're moving from very to rarely. And there's 2 R's and an L in that word rarely. So something that Americans would probably need to practice to say correctly as well. So as I was saying, in my videos, I will tell you when, what things Americans do to simplify some of these words and when that's acceptable, and also some words that Americans simply mispronounce that you shouldn't imitate the way you hear Americans saying it. One more example of a difficult word that's difficult for Americans too is the word clothes. Like I have my clothes in the closet. This has a cluster at the end, which is a voiced th, th, and a voiced z, clothes. So many Americans will pronounce this just as close. They leave that th out. They say it the same as close the door. Close the door to the closet where my clothes are. And this is an acceptable alternative if saying clothes is too difficult. The most important thing to pay attention to is making sure you put that voiced Z on, and then you can work on the combination of the th and z together, clothes. So you'll hear many Americans saying, oh, my clothes. I need to wash my clothes rather than my clothes, simply because that's difficult. And the listeners won't hear the difference. They're used to hearing that reduction with just the Z sound. Speaking of reductions, the last few weeks I've been highlighting my Real Talk playlist. So Pascal is saying months and Smiths. Months, he's asking whether or not we can pronounce months like muns. And I would say actually that's one where you need that TH sound because months. Both months and Smiths, I think, need the TH and the S together, or we won't be able to tell what word you're saying. Muns. Yeah. You may hear some people saying that because they have difficulty, months, but it's a voiceless TH. So for that, I recommend just breaking it down and trying to do that voiceless TH and S together. So you would begin with the TH, and then add the S. Oh, you don't have to apologize, Pascal. He's apologizing, saying it was incorrect. But that's good. They have a good question about it. Oh, he meant to write clothes. Yes, for clothes, you can leave that TH out and just say clothes rather than clothes. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Thank you for the question. So to practice on these difficult words, typically it's helpful to isolate which sounds are difficult and practice those by themselves and then work towards integrating them in the word. Later today I'm going to be uploading a video for the word sixth. This is a classic example of not that K or S is that difficult, but the TH is difficult. And we have to do quite a number of consonants at the end of that word together. Sixth. It's a K, S, and TH. So six is hard enough, but sixth is quite difficult. And so you're going to work on the sounds, building the sounds together. So I'm going to give you a quick tip, some help on how to practice these and integrate them. And we're going to focus on words that have THER at the end, like other, together, etc. Since going from the voice TH to the R can be quite difficult, the sound. Yes. Pascal's asking whether or not we always have a little, whether we always aspirate the P and the T and the K sounds. He's asking if we have kind of a light H sound. So in American English, yes, P, T, and K always have that aspiration after them when they're at the beginning of the word. So for example, pick and talk and cake. I'm always going to say it with a puff of air. P, pick, t, talk, and k, cake. If I say it without that puff of air to the American listener, if I say pick instead of pick, they will hear it as a B sound, even though that is a different phoneme, an unaspirated P, and that exists in a lot of languages. You want to make sure you aspirate it when you're speaking in American English. I have a video about that after the broadcast. I'll put that link in the corner, and if you can look up initial P or initial T and find that video on my channel page. Okay, so back to the quick tip. I'm talking about words with THER at the end. This can be a difficult pattern for many people. And so what I suggest is building the word from the end of the word to the front of the word. So you start with the vowel So start with the sound. Practice, make sure you have a good tight back American and then you're going to add the TH sound before that. So there. And I do have a video about pronouncing there. You do have to start with your tongue forward for the th and back for the . And if you practice that there by itself, it becomes easier to put it in words. So you might try there, other, there, either. This also comes up in words like together, another. It's a great way to build that sequence of difficult sounds by starting from the back. With vowels, Pascal says he'll look it up. In words, talk and walk, we don't say the L sound, even talking, walking. That's right, the L is silent. It affects how I say the vowel sound, talk, ah, it's vowel ah, but it's not talk or walk. So even in the word walking, it's more of a ah sound, vowel without the L. Good question. Okay. For words that are difficult because of similar vowels or vowels that you have accent patterns on, like man and men, I suggest practicing those words and pairing them. Mr. Challenge would like to know some books that I would suggest for TOEFL. I'll have to research that for you. I have had some clients who've been working towards the TOEFL, and we've mostly focused on the spoken practice. But I'll look into that for you and see what I can recommend and put that in the comments for this video later. So with vowels like man and men, if you can pair the word with another word that has that vowel and make sure that you're making those two vowels distinct from each other, then that can really help you distinguish those words. So for some people, man, singular, and men, plural, you're welcome, sound like each other. So for that pair of words, I would suggest trying practicing that man, so that vowel a is in both words, that man, and 10 men, vowel e in both of those words. So if I'm going from man to men by itself, it can be challenging. That man, 10 men helps separate those vowels and helps me hear and distinguish them when I'm pronouncing those two words. Another example, live and leave. I would practice saying didn't live and we leave. So vowel I, didn't and live, and vowel E, we and leave. Or another example, it lives, he leaves. And then that way you're really separating those two vowels. All right, well, that's my quick tip for today for some difficult words. And of course, you can find more on the difficult words playlist. You'll see examples of words. And please give me your suggestions on what words are difficult for you. Pascal was checking out the R and TH sound transitions, and he found that very helpful. Great, I'm glad that helps you, Pascal. Please feel free to ask questions. Come to my live broadcasts and ask your questions. We've had some great questions today in this broadcast, and you can always leave them in the comments for this video or any other video, and I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. Fakira says the word costs is difficult. Oh yeah, that's a great suggestion. I can make a video for that. So costs, I'm having to move from the S to the T to the S. So I would try practicing just costs without a T or an S, costs, and then cost, making sure you're going from S to T, cost. And then finally, when cost is comfortable, try to add the third S, costs. Tss is the combination of sounds that's most difficult. And that's true for other words as well. Have a great day, Pascal. Good to see you. So feel free to leave questions and comments on this video or any of my videos. I really love getting your suggestions. It helps me make new videos and new topics for our live classes. You can find many of the videos. You can find many of the videos if you check in my playlist. You can use the search box and put in, yes, I will see you later. You can put in what you're looking for, and if I have a video for it, it'll come up. And if I don't yet have a video for it, then send me an email or make a comment or question, and I'll make sure that I include that in my upcoming video series for you. As always, I want to remind you that you can take my free online classes at my website, speechmodification.com. I have a free mini course that gives you an idea of what some of my other courses are. And all of my paid courses have free trials, so you can check them out. Right now I'm having a Black Friday special where you can get a full free month of my full class, access to all of the videos, for free. And normally that's $20 a month. If you sign up now, you can access that for a month and check it out. And maybe you'll want to stick around and take the class for longer, continue to use those resources. So check that out on speechmodification.com, and I'll include a link below. You want to use the coupon code Black Friday to get that free month of class. So I hope that you can take advantage of that. I'm really excited to share that with you all. Thanks for coming today. And Pascal is saying he took the free course and he highly recommends it. So I do have a free course, and Pascal, now's your chance to go ahead and take the full course for free. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and questions after you've had a chance to access some of that. So thanks for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you again next Friday at our live class. And I'm Christine with Speech Modification. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com.